gonna try to break down BTS's On music video. And let me start by saying that this might be all over the place because there's so many references, but I'm gonna try my best to break things down and make it easier to understand. We start off with a scene which looked like an aftermath of a war. Jin is found kneeling down looking at a white bird that was pierced with an arrow. And the bird looks like a dove. And doves symbolize love and peace. And obviously, this set of a battlefield represents the opposite, which is why the bird is dead. Now, you'll find that a lot of scenes reference fake love, and this is like a parallel universe. Although the settings look like it's in the past because of their outfits, this could be the present or the future as well, but in a different universe. And for those who are confused about this whole parallel universe topic, I did make a summary video of BTS's storyline. Link will be in my description box. As soon as you see the scene of Jin looking over, it switches over to Jungkook, similar to fake love. And then we see Jungkook running through the field with his hands tied together. He looks back at a wall and it seems like he's running from it. Now, we're not sure if he came from the other side of the wall, but there is a theory that he did, and Jungkook did enter through fake love. It switches to a scene with Jimin and a pile of drums. Now, this could represent music is no longer used in that world and was discarded. The drums were also used on the battlefield to communicate commands from officers to soldiers. Then we see V laying down next to an organized clutter and a little girl who is blindfolded. Now, I tried to take a closer look at the clutter and it looks like a bunch of sticks wrapped in cloth and feathers. Then there's like a guitar in the middle, I think. I'm not sure exactly what this represents, but if you guys do know, comment down below. Jin is then seen holding a cage, and this is similar to the fake love scene with the flower, but this time it's a dead dove inside instead of a flower. Now we're shown RM in a setting similar to Noah's Ark. We have the broken ship in the back along with the animals, which I found out these animals were actually real, not CGI. This scene could represent, quote, the flood as the collective society falling into the unconscious, being swallowed by divine archetypal modes of thoughts through a modern lens. So remember that BTS's current concept was heavily inspired by Carl Jung's map of the soul. And Jung believed that the animals during Noah's Ark represented beings that possesses almost no free will. Noah and his family represented the more conscious and transcend or see through the human tendency to war amongst themselves. So we notice that BTS could represent Noah and his family. They are aware and conscious about their surroundings, which is why each member plays a role in this movement during the music video. We're back with Jin, and this time he made it into a room full of cages. He brought the bird back with him and he covered the cage with a cloth. Then it shows a scene of Jimin reaching for the sky, similar to Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Wings, Lie. This could represent him reaching for hope. And he reaches out to the child. Seems like he's trying to reach out to the youth, which has always been BTS's goal. The cage with the dead bird suddenly moves as if it's alive. And you notice Jin's reaction as he looks out the window, like something had happened. Don't worry, I'll explain to you guys in a bit what might have happened, so hold on tight. We continue with Jungkook running through the woods, and this is also similar to, again, fake love. He ends up fainting, and it's like he fell back to his unconsciousness, where we're introduced to J-Hope in this beautiful setting. J-Hope is in a field with what it looks like dead trees, while a crow or raven is picking at Jungkook's body. Now, I say crow or raven because I am no bird expert, but if it was a raven, you know that ravens are tied to BTS's storyline and to also Carl Jung. Jung deemed raven symbolism to represent the shadow self, or the dark side of the psyche. The members see this raven constantly during their Wings era. Not only do ravens represent the shadow self, but many cultures associate them with healing, renewal, and rebirth. So when Jungkook wakes up and continues his journey to the Ponder Lake, that could be his rebirth. We are then introduced to Suga, who's in what looks like a sanctuary for the youth. And unlike the other members who are outside, Suga's scene takes place in a room filled with candles and with only one source of natural sunlight. And this scene reminds me so much of his Shadow music video. But also remember that Suga's character is tied to fire, which could explain all the candles. Taehyung then gets up and notices the girl with the blindfold standing and facing towards something. He looks over to see the huge wall with the doors opening up. So he removes the blindfold in order to help her move forward, because I believe the blindfold represents ignorance, similar to Jimin during his Blood, Sweat, and Tears and also his storyline. Jimin wears a blindfold in order to prevent himself from accepting the truth. Now together, Taehyung and the little girl could walk forward. Also note that these two are similar to the cartoon characters from the Make It Right music video. Note that after the kid plays the drum, Jungkook wakes up and the doors start to open. So it's as if the child played the drums as a signal. As the doors open, Jungkook goes into the lake, or the pond. Note that the walls and doors remind us of Maze Runner. I know a lot of people made connections with that. The thorned cuffs around his wrist is similar to the crown of thorns that was placed on Jesus' head during the events prior to his crucifixion. It was one of the instruments of the passion employed by Jesus' captors, both to cause him pain and to mock his claim of authority, kind of similar to BTS's situation in the past when they experienced hardships. You see Suga, J-Hope, Jin, RM, and Jimin join V along with a crowd of people. Now, remember when I said something happened after Jin witnessed the bird come back to life? Now, instead of thinking Jin resurrected the bird, think of the storyline about Jin being a time traveler, and he traveled back in time to save everyone. Now we started off with a scene of all these dead bodies after a war, and now the music video is ending with everyone walking together. So it does seem like Jin traveled back in time before the war in order to save everyone, but you know, just theory. He then opens the cage and lets the dove free. And again, white doves also symbolize a new beginning. But then we continue with a scene of Jungkook dipping the thorn cuffs underwater and bringing out a conch shell. So this is all happening while the other members are by the wall. The conch shell is a spiritual symbol used in many cultures throughout history. The ancients adapted the practical use to associate the conch shell with spiritual awakening and symbolism. According to mainstream Buddhism and Hinduism, the conch shell is also associated with truthful speech and strength. So if this is a spiritual awakening, what is Jungkook trying to wake up? Right after he plays the conch shells, the clouds turn dark and the volcano starts to erupt. Note that because there is a scene of Noah's Ark, people have theorized that the mountain is actually Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark was found to be located. Alright, so we're given this amazing dance break, and it looks like there's a full moon, but remember this could also be the sun covered by dark clouds and ashes from the volcano. Then it transitions to everyone wearing a hood, similar to Fake Love, and Jungkook brings the conch shell and lines up with the rest of the members. As they all lined up together, the volcanic bomb starts to fall on them. So instead of like that huge block falling on them, it's volcanic bombs. What could this represent? In order for them to move forward, in Fake Love, they destroyed their masks. And in On, it seemed as if they were destroying their establishment so they could regrow everything and start anew. Remember that their Wings era was heavily influenced by the book Damien, where Abraxas represents a bird that must destroy its own world, which is its egg, in order to live. So for the process of individuation, the ego and the shadow is no longer divided but brought together in unity, and their persona is now balanced with their shadows. It seems as if Jungkook was the last to go through it and complete the process of individuation. And for those who don't know the process of individuation, I'm going to include that little clip in here again. I know some of you guys have seen this already. Individuation means the realization of self which is actually what BTS is going through right now in the storyline. The individuation process begins with becoming conscious of the persona, the mask we take on in our everyday life. After we become conscious of the shadow, the repressed characteristics of the ego, then we become conscious of the anima, the inner woman in each man, or animus, the inner man of each woman. Then the image of the old wise man or old wise woman appears, after which the experiences of self happens. Now, the wise old man can appear in many forms, such as a king, a savior, a hero. So the last is self. I mean, the boys wouldn't leave us hanging and not complete the process, right? Then RM leads them to the top of the mountain or rock, which reminds us a lot about Lion King. The dove that was released seemed to have come back, but this time he brought his friends along, and you can see that there are 7 doves flying together. It then shows Jungkook running forward, and this scene looks similar to Not Today, except this time, Jungkook is smiling. He runs ahead of the boys, unlike the scenes from I Need You and Euphoria. This time, they're all running together without being shot down, and are able to continue going up. This music video showcased their battles, representing their hardships, and the boys who once had no more dream now has a dream. And their dream is to reach out and connect everyone through music and art. And this music video symbolized hope. They've succeeded by finding themselves, and they've also helped us by leading us on the same path. So the crowd that they brought along with them could represent ARMY and those that they've helped. We're all working to find ourselves, and we need to start by looking towards our own shadows and accepting it. So this is the path to self-love. BTS's dream to connect everyone around the world through music and art is seen through their project Connect BTS, which could explain why this music video had a lot of references to it. But why the historical references? Well, remember that this is an eternal journey of our past meeting present, present meeting future, and future meeting past. Map of the Soul 7 contains both their shadows, the difficulties they faced, and ego, their acceptance of those as part of them. And of course, there were many references such as Bird Box, Maze Runner, Lion King, Noah's Ark, and yes, we could also link this to the book called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. This music video was truly inspiring and beautiful. Special thanks to everyone who helped out on this project, this music video, just putting everything together, especially the music, and of course BTS for presenting it amazingly. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.